Let us start our discussion in module number 3, which has a title of Defining Culture and Society. Ayan. So, this topic has its main objective to identify the nature and dynamics of culture and society. We will also distinguish the key features of the three major approaches to study the culture, and we will determine how society and its institutions shape. So, as an overview in our topic, recent study shows that culture is not only a present to human beings, but also to other species in animal kingdom, such as chimpanzees and other primates. Okay? So, habang pinag-aaralan to, habang ongoing yung pag-aaral about the recent culture that is having or that is present in human beings and in other species like animals, uh, people can learn things and transmit what they have learned from first generation or from one generation to another. Okay? The people also have the ability to control their environment and be able to adapt to change. Okay? So, an individual's culture is actually composed of his or her way of life and the knowledge or technique to enable him or her to survive and overcome. Yan. So, ang tao, they are actually the most recognized member of animal kingdom because we are able to develop and possess culture such as either personal, a group level, or may create a commonality or differences to every member given in a society. So, ano nga ba yung society and culture? As we have discussed on the first part of this module, we identify the culture as a product of a society. Okay? And it is said here that society refers to a group of people sharing common territory, language, culture, and the one who act together for collective and survival and well-being. So, the way an individual depend on one another, the way an individual shows in their features of uh, yung sa culture, the way they dress, what are the things what are the food they eat, 'di ba? Their act, their values, 'di ba? It is actually shows or shown by a society. At yung mga pinapakita nilang yon, yun yung tinatawag nating culture. Okay? So these features are actually shown also by such as economic, communication, the defense system. Doon siya makikita eh. 'Di ba? And they are also bound together by what we call sense of common identity. Ayan. So itong reference na to is nakuha sa tinatawag nating Book of Haviland sa na nasa page 312. Okay? So, although culture and society are interrelated with one another, meron pa rin silang pagkakaiba. Okay? Sinasabi dito that society has more comprehensive sets of culture in the sense that the group is culturally self-sufficient. Okay? So, excuse me, this means that diverse culture exists in a specific society. At yung society na to ay has the ability to engage or trade with others society, yet the culture patterns involve the trade of relation. Okay? Ano yung sinasabi ni ma'am? Isang halimbawa dito, yung pinakikita sa illustration. Let me zoom it para mas makita po natin. Yan. The bayanihan. 'Di ba? Yung bayanihan na tinatawag. Because every individual has the ability to communicate with one another and has the ability to involve with one another. So, yung bayanihan system, it actually present, no, during the time of yung mga sinaunang tao, kahit hanggang ngayon present pa rin yung bayanihan. Okay? It is because yung bayanihan is in what we call cultural pattern na ng tao. Okay? And in the most cases, people entire set of social interaction occurs within the society. And all social system or a system cutting across society, either as a part of them or a system cutting across society, depend upon on the people within the society. Kumbaga, nakadepende to dun sa mga tao. Ano yung ibig sabihin ng binanggit ni ma'am? Nakadepende ito dun sa mga tao na member mismo ng society. How do they interact with one another? Do they practice the bayanihan system? Do they practice the unity system? Diba? How do people interact? Sabi dito, the human society is characterized by a territorial and localized population, the member of which interact in a network of relationship which are distinctive, culturally defined, limited, and effectively bounded by common linguistic patterns and other forms of symbolic representation. There are some individuals or a group of society that has been banned because of their linguistic patterns. Pag sinabi nating linguistic patterns, ito yung kapwa Ilocano, kapwa Tagalog, kapwa Bisaya. 'Di ba? They are bonded by their linguistic or their nuances. 'Di ba? Some are bonded by their cultural, anong tawag dito, practices. There are some society that has been bonded based on their practices. 'Di ba? Meron naman na nababand based on their beliefs. 'Di ba? Like the religions, 'di ba? Example 'yon ng society. And society arises only when individuals are knit together or communicate with one another. Dito pumapasok yung tinatawag nating network of mutual stimulus and response. Okay? So, the most important characteristic that distinguish human form is no human lies in a specific way in people that strive to meet their basic need. Yung pinakang importante daw na characteristic na pwedeng ma-distinguish yung form of communication sa isang society is yung way of communication and how do people strive. 'Di ba? How do people strive in order for them to survive? 'Di ba? Kasi no man is an island. 'Di ba? No man can live without other man. Ika nga. So, by means of communication, by means of knitting together or uniting or communication with other people, an individual can respond or an individual can survive. 'Di ba? So, in other words, society exists when social beings behave toward each other. Ika nga, 'di ba? So, what is social reproduction and how societies persist? Ano nga ba yung tinatawag nating social reproduction? And paano nga ba nag-i-interact o nagpa-persist yung tao within that concept? Okay? If one defines a society as organization of groups that is relatively self-contained, ang susunod na katanungan nito, paano daw na ma-manage yung society, yung existence and persistence ng tinatawag na time across and space. Ika nga. Ano yung ibig sabihin nun? Yung pinakang main problem nito is how would we explain yung kung paano yung society, paano niya na ma-manage yung existence o over a long period of time. Yung tinatawag natin na reproduction. Kasi within a society, hindi po pwedeng hindi dadami yan eh. Within a society, hindi po pwedeng hindi magkakaroon ng interaction yan with one another. That is actually based from the study of anthropologist Louis Althusser. Okay? Sinasabi niya that there is no society that can endure over time. There is no society that can endure as a single. Ika nga. If a society does not support its very own reproduction, to do this, all societies must require a creation of institution to perpetuate the existence of society. Kumbaga, to explain all of that, sinasabi dito that every individual is required to interact with one another. And there is no society that can endure over time if it does not support its own reproduction. 'Di ba kasi merong anong tawag dito, community na halimbawa merong bansa na ipinagbabawal na maging 5 o maging 3 yung kanilang anak. Meron ba kayong alam na bansa na ganun? Na ipinagbabawal yung pagdami ng anak. 'Di ba no? Kapag ka ganun, either kakasuhan siya or papatawan ng kamatayan. 'Di ba? Meron pang ibang bansa na ganun. Kinokontrol nila yung pagdami ng population sa kanilang bansa. Maybe because to sustain yung commodities and of course yung anong tawag dito, yung iba pang pangangailangan ng mga tao within the community. And of course, yung para ba 'di ba, iniiwasan nila yung anong tawag dito, dahil yung pwedeng maging epekto nung paglaglala o paglago ng population. Halimbawa na lamang sa Pilipinas, dahil dumadami yung population, lumolobo yung population ng Pilipinas, mas lalong nagiging mahirap yung sitwasyon. Mas lalong dumarami ang walang trabaho. 'Di ba? Naaapektuhan yung ekonomiya. 'Di ba? So, kaya nga ngayon, ang nangyayari, ipinasa yung anong tawag dito, yung control, yung pag-control sa sa reproduction, 'di ba? Kasi kumbaga para mabawasan 'yun, 'di ba? So, to do this, all societies must require the creation of institution to perpetuate the existence of society. 'Di ba? Though the society is existing already, 'di ba? Kailangan na kontrolado pa rin siya within the community. Ganun yung gusto nilang iparating o gustong iparating nung pag-aaral ni Louis Althusser about sa reproduction within the society. Okay? So, according to him, there are 2 types of institution that reproduce the condition of social life. Okay? Unang-una na, yung tinatawag nating ideological state apparatuses. Okay? This ideological state of apparatuses is these are institutions that are and used by society to mold its members, okay, and share the same values and beliefs. Typically, this member of the society possesses what are the values maybe inside the family, inside the community, okay? Example nitong institution na to, yung school, 'di ba? The media outlets, the radio, the television, ngayon social media, 'di ba? Actually sa social media hindi na lang yung mga values yung nakikita natin 'di ba? May mga bad na rin 'di ba? Bad news na rin, mga fake news, 'di ba? Tapos pornographies, present na rin siya sa social media. Yes po, 'di ba? Then social and sport club, and of course number 1, ideological state apparatuses is the family. The value na itinuturo ng pamilya natin. Okay. Next one is the repressive state apparatuses. Pag sinabi nating repressive state apparatuses, ito naman is, ang nire-refer nito is yung coercive institution. 'Di ba? They actually use physical force to make the members of the society to follow. Halimbawa na lamang, sa baras, the police station, 'di ba? Yun yung isa sa mga repressive state apparatuses. 'Di ba? The LGUs, 'di ba? Ano pa? Yung courts, 'di ba? The police, yung prisons. Yun yung mga ginagamit nila para sumunod yung tao. Halimbawa ako, 'di ba? Hindi ako sumunod sa batas, sa rules and regulations na meron dito sa baras. Gumawa ako ng hindi magandang anong tawag dito? Gumawa ako ng krimen. So may karapatan sila. Okay? Nahulihin ako. 'Di ba? Kasi nakagawa ako ng krimen. Pwede akong makasuhan. Okay? So, those are the two types of institution that reproduce the condition within the social life. So, the culture is actually the complex whole which includes yung paniniwala, yung practices, yung values, 'di ba? Yung attitude, the laws, and many more. As we have discussed from our past lesson, pag sinabi nating culture, it is actually the product of the society. Because the people can amend, the members of the society can amend, 'di ba? Those beliefs, practices, those values, those laws, norms, the artifacts, the symbols, the people within the society can amend those what is in the culture, 'di ba? And there are three components that go together that make up a culture. Unang-una na dito is the ideas. Okay? Pag sinabi nating ideas, this comes up with the word thoughts. Kung ano yung iniisip natin, ano yung pinaniniwalaan natin, ano yung nararamdaman natin bilang individual. And of course, yung rules na sinusundan natin. Okay? Ang mga halimbawa nitong idea na to is yung halimbawa na lang yung paniniwala natin sa Holy Spirit. 'Di ba? Tapos yung food sharing desire among the relatives, 'di ba? Ako personally within the family, 'di ba? The idea of eating together, 'di ba? Kasi para sa akin, within the family, once you eat together, that is the time that you're going to ask your family members what is happening to them within the day, 'di ba? That is the time na pwede silang mag-share ng feelings nila. That is the time na pwede silang, anong tawag din, alam niyo yung bonding siya, 'di ba? That is a bonding moment para sa akin. Kaya kumbaga, ayoko talaga ng hindi nagsasalo-salo, o hindi magkakasabay sa pagkain. Kami, personally, kami ng family ko. 'Di ba? Ano pa? Yung mga practices like yung pagpapakita ng ways on how to make things like abstract concept, 'di ba? The love, peace, and happiness. Then, yung tinatawag na Decalogue of Conduct. Okay? Kung saan ito ay tinatawag na 10 Commandments. Diba? Yung paniniwala natin sa kung ano yung meron sa Bible, what are the 10 Commandments na until now, sinusunod talaga natin siya. Diba? Ideas that may directly part of some behavior and underlying cause or even byproduct of it. Diba? So, ito, yung ideas na yan, itinuturo naman yan. 'Di ba? Or natututunan siya. Okay? Next one, yung activities naman natin. These activities actually is a dynamic component of culture kasi ito yung ginagawa natin based dun sa ideas na pinaniniwalaan natin, natutunan natin. Like say for example, yung paniniwala natin sa Pasko. 'Di ba? Sa Katoliko. 'Di ba? So, we celebrate Christmas. We celebrate bagong taon or New Year. Tama? May Holy Week pa. 'Di ba? So, those are the activities that we do. 'Di ba? And yung practices natin in line with what we believe, 'di ba? What we learn from ideas. Okay? Next one. Naasasabayan niyo po ba si ma'am? Okay, next one is the artifacts. Yan. Pag sinabi nating artifacts, these are a man-made product made from ideas and activities. Let's say, for example, sa Katoliko, yung mga rebulto or mga santo. 'Di ba? Those are man-made. 'Di ba? So, ginawa ito or ginawa nila ito base sa kanilang paniniwala. Tama po ba? The rosaries. Yan. Ano pa? The temples. 'Di ba? Those are a part of artifacts. 'Di ba? So, ginawa siya based on ideas and activities. Okay? So, those are the three components that go together that make up a culture. So, a culture is a concept, okay? A concept that has been defined in many ways. So, in much capsule way or much capsule form of explaining it, a culture may be defined as complex, whole, that includes knowledge, belief, art, morals, laws, customs, and any other capabilities and habits that acquire, shared, and transmitted by man through interaction with one another. So, ito ay base sa pag-aaral ng isang anthropologist whose name is Taylor. And according to him, ang culture daw ay natututunan. Tama. Ang culture, natututunan yan. It is because pwede itong ituro sa atin ng ating mga magulang. Pwede nating matutunan sa ating mga kaibigan, sa ating mga guro, and of course, sa mga leaders, like leaders sa religions, or kaya sa politics, 'di ba? Culture is not actually biological or genetic. Hindi yan naipapasa by bloodline. 'Di ba? Natututunan 'yan. Halimbawa, si Justin, 'di ba? Halimbawa si Justin na anong tawag dito, mula pa nung bata siya, ipinamulat na sa kanya ng mga magulang niya kung ano yung klase ng kultura na mayroon ng pamilya niya. So from then on, kung ano yung natutunan niya sa magulang niya hanggang sa paglaki niya, okay? Hanggang sa paglaki niya, dala-dala niya pa rin yun. Okay? Yun yung letter A, learn. Next one, a culture can be shared. 'Di ba? Ang kultura daw na mayroon ng isang community is pwede yan ma-share. 'Di ba? Though each person is endowed with critical mind to understand things as well as to cultivate his or her own values, a culture can be shared by what we call worldviews, 'di ba? Wherein the members of the human group also share their basic ideas. Yan. Pwede natin siyang i-share. Next one is yung symbolic. Okay. Pag sinabi nating symbolic, this is actually often manifested when it comes on language, the meaning of socially or the meaning in as socially constructed, 'di ba? According to the study of Ellen Rudolph, he studied about the Japanese language culture. Yun daw babae at saka lalaki na Japanese, they use their language in different way. 'Di ba? Ang mga Japanese na babae at lalaki, ginagamit nila yung kanilang language sa magkakaibang paraan. 'Di ba? Yung both sexes are expected to be polite when it comes on using their language. Pero ang mga kababaihan na Japanese, mas polite daw sila kaysa sa mga lalaki when it comes on using their language. Diba? That is according to the study of Ellen Rudolph. Okay? So, as for today, hanggang dyan po muna yung ating lesson.